Okay, so I'm almost done with the dumplings, so I'm gonna pour this water and the vegetables off in the pot. Okay. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna cover that up. It's on low fire. I'm gonna cover it up and let those vegetables cook for a little while. And then I'll be over here finishing these dumplings. Okay, that's how much I done. And this is how much I got left to do. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, I finished all the dumplings. That's 16 biscuits. Now, if you don't have a large family, you can do 1 can of 8 biscuits and half the amount of chicken that I use. But I don't know how to cook in small portions, so it is what it is. So when I cook for you, it'll be for a whole bunch of people more than likely. Okay, so I'm just going to take the extra flour and just sprinkle it on here. Okay. Just sprinkle it in there. Okay, so just mix it around. You know what I'm saying? Because all that's going to make your juice. Okay. And I did have to go get some more flour, but this is what I have left. And so now BJ is about to clean this mess up and put these dumplings in. And then let's see. Okay. I'm probably going to cut the fire up a little. And I'm going to check my vegetables because I don't want them to overcook before I put the dumplings in. And there's the chicken waiting to go back in. I'm going to put the chicken in last because the chicken is already done, okay? So I got to get those dumplings done. Okay, so I'll be back when it's time to put the dumplings in. Okay, so I tasted my juice and I added some more seasoning. So I added some more seasoned salt, garlic salt, parsley, accent salt, and black pepper. So this time I added parsley. My grandson is behind me playing music. Okay, so we putting the dumplings in the pot. Okay, I'm down to the last of it, but I don't know whether I'm going to use the whole pan of dumplings. Let's see. Because remember, the dumplings is going to absorb the juice. And we still got to put the chicken back in. Okay, so. Okay, and you want your fire medium right now, okay? You don't want it too high and you don't want it too low. And at this point, I think I'm going to go on and put the rest of the dumplings off in here. It's not that much left anyway. Okay, see the flour down at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this and just dump it off in there. Attempt to anyway. I'm trying to hold this camera. Okay, there we go. Okay. So we dumped all that off in there. So you just want to stir it around real gentle. Okay, gentle. You don't want to break up your dumplings. Okay, so I'm going to let the dumplings cook by themselves for about maybe about 6 or 7 minutes. See how it look? And then I'm going to add the chicken, okay? And then we'll see if we need to add any more water, but look like I might be pretty good. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, I wanted my juice to be a little more thicker, so what I did was I sprinkled some flour on top. Okay, just a little, and then I'm gonna stir it and mix it in. Okay, my dumplings are still on their 6 minutes. Maybe about 2 more minutes. I'm gonna let them cook, and then I'm gonna add the chicken. Maybe another 3 minutes, you guys. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a fork. Let me see. Take a fork. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let your dumplings cook maybe about 10 minutes before you add the chicken, because you want to make sure your dumplings is done. You don't want them gummy, okay? So let them cook about 10 minutes on medium fire before adding your chicken, okay? And that's the shredded chicken. I deboned it and I just shredded it up, okay? And again, it was the chicken thighs and chicken legs, the quarters, okay? So yeah, see, it's starting to get a little. See, so once you could put the chicken back in, you could pretty much like let it cook another 5 minutes and then cut the fire off, put the lid on it, and just let it sit and cook, you know, just mix together real good. Okay. I want to taste chicken and dumplings, not chicken and biscuits. Okay. And I don't want it gummy. So yeah, it's looking good. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put the lid on. And I'm going to let it cook maybe about 5 more minutes, and then I'll be back. Add the chicken. Okay, let's see what we got going on. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, now you want to cut your fire down very low. Okay? And then you want to just slowly add your chicken. Okay, it's a little hard to add this chicken with one hand holding this camera and one hand trying to grab up at this chicken. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so now you just want to stir it around. Okay. Now I'm going to cut my fire completely off. And I'm going to just mix in the rest of the chicken. And I'm going to just cover the lid. And it'll be just fine. Okay. So give me a moment. Let me add the rest of the chicken. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a pot of chicken and dumplings. And like I told you before, I'm going to name all my dishes that I cook. And this is going to be called, I believe, I'm going to name this BJ Poppin' Hot Chicken and Dumplings. Okay? I like that name. Okay, so there you have it. And I'm going to cover it back up. And the pot is still hot, so it's going to just be fine. Okay, so that's ready. So now I'm going to do the hot water cornbread. So I'll come back and show you my step by step on hot water cornbread. I'll see you in a few minutes. I got my water boiling for the hot water cornbread. I have the grease on low, medium fire rather. Okay, I have my grease ready on medium fire for the hot water cornbread, and the hot water is trying to strike a boil, and that's the pan I'm gonna put it in. And this is the hot water cornbread. Okay, so I'm going to do a separate video at a later date on what I mix together to make the hot water cornbread. Tonight, I'm just going to cook the cornbread for you, okay? Let me know. Okay, so I'm going to pour some hot water into the bowl with the mixture, okay? And you don't want to put a lot. You want to start off with a little because you don't want your hot water cornbread to be soupy. Okay. Okay, see how it is? You want to pour hot water, stir, and see how much more you need. And you just want to put enough hot water to mix everything together. Okay? Like I said, you don't want it to be soupy. If it becomes soupy, I know how to tell you to fix it, but you don't want it to be soupy. Okay, so it's not soupy. You want it just thick enough where you can stir it and mix it. Okay? Like that. Okay? It's mixed well, but not soupy. Okay? Kind of like oatmeal, thick oatmeal. Okay? So now we don't need any more of that water. So now you want to run the water, cold water on your hands. Now you can get a bowl to dip your hands in, or you can dip them up under the faucet. So my hands are already clean, so I'm just gonna wet my hands with cold water. Put a generous amount of mixture in my hand. Keep my hands nice and moist with cold water. And then you're just going to pat it together. Now the cold water keeps the bread from sticking to your hands. Okay? Now you just want to pat it out like this. Okay, you want to make sure it's not sticking to your hands, right? And then follow me over here. Just lay it in the grease, okay? And wash that off your hands and start your next one. And you can make them big or small, it doesn't matter. Okay? Just keep the cold water. Keep your hands saturated with cold water. Now keep in mind the bread is hot, but not hot that you can't hold it. But if the bread is hot, and you're just going to keep patting it out. Okay, till it get about like this. Just lay them in there. Okay, here's how it should look in a skillet. Okay, so you don't want your grease to be above your hot water cornbread, okay? You want it to be halfway across. So depending on what kind of pan you use, you got to make sure that you don't put too much grease. If you do, just once you put the first piece in there, if the grease is too high, just pour some of the grease off, okay? Now I'm about to turn them and flip them, and this is what I usually do before I turn them and flip them. Okay, I usually just take a fork and poke holes. You know why? Because I want to make sure it's done on the inside as well as the outside, okay? You don't have to play in it. Just poke the holes in it and then flip them. Like after 5 minutes, you can just flip them over to the other side and let them cook. And then, okay, I flipped them over. Now I'm going to let them cook on this side for about 5 minutes. And while they're cooking, I'm going to poke holes on this side as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to let them cook for 5 minutes. Then I'm going to flip them back over. Now, if this color is fine for you, that's great. Me, I like mine a little darker, and I want to make sure they cooked on the inside. So, I'm going to let mine cook about 5 minutes on each side, and then I'm going to flip them, and then I'm going to let them cook about 5 more minutes on each side before I take them out, okay? Okay, so it's been about 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going to flip them again. Okay, so I'm flipping them back to the original side that they first started on. See, that's how I want them to look, just like that one. Okay, so another 5 minutes on this side. So I won't be poking no more holes in them now. So I'm just going to let them cook until they get the color that I want them to be, okay? And then I'll take them out.